All right, guys, welcome back in. This is Will and Nick Save the World for episode 8.
That's right, episode 8. And shout out to Maryland. We got a couple great 8s from the state of Maryland. Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man, number 8. And shout out to my man, LaMarvelous Action Jackson, number 8.
Yes, you do love the Ravens.
And dude, I love
more than
the
any
Ravens.
person I know. No, do you know Spencer Horseman?
By name, I think,
Okay.
but I don't. If he walked in the room right now, I wouldn't say Spencer.
He's one of my friends, and he loves the Ravens as much as you do, if not more so. And he gets really, really upset if they lose, so I like to troll him.
Oh man, well, anybody that loves the Ravens like that is cool with me.
Yeah, so shout out to Spencer.
Oh yeah.
So we have a lot of important things to discuss on this episode. One thing though we should leave with, I think,
Yes.
we're official.
Oh yes, we are.
We're
Hell
kind
yeah.
of official now. I mean,
We're
it's,
definitely getting there.
it's kind of important.
Yeah, let the people know, bro.
All right, so the people need to know that Will and Nick Save the World now has an official logo.
Let's go.
And it's pretty legit, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. We reached out, bro. I was actually trying to tell our other friend Will about it, and I couldn't remember. Where did we get it from?
Etsy.
Etsy. Yeah. Shout out to Etsy, the designer that helped us out, and just the fine artists on Etsy in general.
Yeah.
Man, that was really struggling to think of the website name. But yeah, they did a great job.
Yeah, they definitely did. And we kind of went back and forth a bunch on some revisions, and she was great with it, and she got us all sorted out. And I think, we'll post a picture actually of the logo.
Yeah.
Even though they're going to see it in the channel anyway. Boop. There it is. It's like magic, really. It just fell from the sky. But yeah, we have this logo, and I think it represents kind of what the podcast is and us a little bit.
For sure.
So I think it's going to be our official brand logo
Oh,
for
hell
quite a
yeah.
while. Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. And guys, comment and let us know if you like the logo.
Yes.
Hopefully they do. If you don't, let us know. It ain't changing. I got news. Like, that's what we're rolling with. So hopefully
For
you guys
now, at
enjoy
least.
it.
It
Yeah.
might change later.
In
but-
time. It ain't changing next week. Though.
Right.
Let me say that.
Later. It might change later, but who knows, right?
Yeah.
And we have channel art coming, like a banner. That's
Yep.
coming soon. She's
Yep.
working on that.
Indeed.
So that's going to look legit, and it's going to be up on our YouTube channel soon. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be legit. It's going to have the logo, still the globe that you're seeing, and it's going to be pretty legit.
Yeah, and not only that, we've got another, I want to say milestone. That's not the word for it, though. Another officialness that
Yes.
we've crossed as well.
Hit them with it.
We're now on Spotify.
Spotify.
That's right. What are the other platforms?
Well, it's funny you should ask. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Well, we should be. If you're seeing this episode or listening to this episode on Spotify before you see it on Apple Podcasts, that's because it is reviewing our application. It's considering, hey, do we want these two on Apple Podcasts? I don't know. So
Of course they do.
They might, but I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to be on there. That's going to be something we're going to be on. And we're also on Stitcher, if you use Stitcher. We're also on Google Podcasts. And we're also going to be on, wasn't there one more?
Apple?
We're on Apple. Well, we will.
Oh,
be.
no, that's one. Yeah, there's one other. Dang, this is why I turned it over to you, because I definitely can't remember already.
It's like, so we're gonna be on all those, and we'll link those as needed for you guys. So, but most people use Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so
Yeah.
that's where we're gonna be.
So, hey, shout out to the people that are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts right now.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you.
Yep, we definitely are. That's for sure. And we got a lot of important things to discuss in this episode, like I mentioned. So,
100%.
do you want to just jump right into that?
Yeah, so, I'd like to lead with, our main topic.
Yeah.
Our main topic today, we're going to be discussing kind of like following your interests versus, how you feel about it versus maybe how your friends and family and your surrounding circle feels about that. And just kind of dealing with when it can be contradicting to your feelings. But before we jump into that, I do want to talk about Will briefed me like right before I came over and told me he's thinking about getting a tattoo.
And yeah, I am, but I'm not sure it's going to be an immediate thing because there are a couple factors at play here.
Okay.
And one, because I told you what the tattoo comes from,
Yes.
where the inspiration lies.
Yes.
So the funny story is, though, I was thinking about getting this tattoo, and it's not something, I'm not very much a, on the whim type of person where I'll just be like, you know what? Today I feel like getting a tattoo. And I'm just going to roll out to the tattoo shop and get one.
Yep,
Like this is
yep.
something I will think about and drive myself crazy about
Sure.
until I figure out whether I want to do it. So what's interesting is that this tattoo is actually from a game upcoming called The Last of Us Part 2. So one interesting thing is the game has not come out yet. So I want to play the game first because if the game sucks,
Hilarious.
but impossible. It cannot suck.
But you've already played The
first
Last
one.
of Us 1, right?
But she did not have it. Okay, I didn't phrase this. I didn't lead into this correctly. So Ellie, the character in Last of Us, the main character in Part 2, and definitely the lead at some points in the game of part 1. She has a tattoo on her right forearm, which we will post a picture of.
Yep.
Right there. There you go. I love the sound effect.
Yep.
Boop. So she has a tattoo and it's real legit. A lot of people are getting it. And I love the character of Ellie so much that I saw this tattoo and I'm like, man, I'd really like to have that.
Yeah.
On my arm. So now I'm looking at that tattoo and I want to play the game first because if I don't like the game, then obviously that would change things, but that's almost impossible. The first game is my favorite piece of entertainment ever. I've played it 15, 16 times all the way through. So,
dude, I am very excited. When does the game come out?
May 29th.
May 29th. So later this year.
Yes.
I'm excited for you to get the game, play the game, and then mull over a little bit longer if you're going to get this tattoo or not.
Yes.
Because tattoos are a big decision, man.
They are.
They are, practically speaking, permanent. I know nowadays people can get rid of them.
It's painful, I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard it's way more painful to get them lasered off than to just get them.
Right.
Or I think you can also lose a tattoo, like if you like had a bad like a scrape or something like that. Does that make part of the tattoo go away or not?
I don't think so.
No?
But I don't know. I don't know the tattoo physics. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not super huge on tattoos either. Will did ask me earlier, and I didn't disclose because I went away for the podcast.
Yeah, he wouldn't
tell me.
Any
tattoos, but yeah, I do have a tattoo. I actually wore shorts today in the middle of our 30-degree weather right now because I have it right here on my thigh.
How did I forget that? I've seen that tattoo like a million times. But then I asked Nick, I was like, do you have a tattoo? And he was like, well, I'm not going to tell you until we start recording. And I'm like, how did I forget? I've seen that tattoo a million times.
I have the state of Maryland tattooed on my thigh. I don't think you'll be able to see it in the video right now. But don't worry. If you've ever seen the state of Maryland, you've seen what my tattoo looks like. And quite contradictory to what you were saying about really wanting to mull it over. I did get this tattoo on a bit of an impulse.
Oh, okay.
So to dive into the story really quickly, I was out for a work thing. Me and 3 other people we had just met. It was for when I was working for Abercrombie. We went to go open a new store. This happened to be in Kentucky. And we were there. We were having a great time. Everybody was like, wow, while we're all out here, we should get a tattoo. I wasn't thinking about it ahead of time. However, they seemed really excited. So I said, okay, cool. What's a tattoo I could get and where could I get it that I wouldn't be like, oh, this is going to be really stupid later on. So I was like, you know what? I love the state of Maryland. It's where I'm from, and it's a place that I'm really proud of.
Those are 2 good facts.
Yeah, and then I said, you know what? Shit, slap it on my thigh. That sounds like a good place for it.
Yeah.
And then the day rolled up, and me and 1 other person followed through with it, and 2 of them bailed. Yeah,
That's lame, dude.
So all that, and not even everybody did it, but I've had it on my leg ever since, and I'm not upset with it, man. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily like happy it's there, but I'm not like upset with it either. I think because it's super like plain basic, it's just the outline of the state. I'm not like thrilled with it. I don't look at it and go, hell yeah, that shit's sick.
Right.
Because it's just an outline. But I do think like in the future, I would like to get some really intricate artwork done on my body. I would then be more in line with what you're saying. I think I'd have to mull it over a little bit while.
Yeah, because I'm very much in the mulling process.
Yeah,
so
it's good. It's good to mull it over.
One good thing though about this tattoo, you know what's great about it? I looked it up.
Yeah,
they have temporary versions of it.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
So on Etsy. So I'm thinking about getting one. It's $20 shipped. Right?
Dude, that's not bad at all.
Temporary. So you put it on. It's mostly for people who get it for cosplay. So when they're cosplaying Ellie, they, get the tattoo there. So what I'm thinking is get the temporary, let it sit for a couple of days, and it's mostly black and white. But this one would have like a little bit of green in there, as they probably saw in the photo.
Sure.
So but the black and white one would at least give me an idea of what it would look like. So maybe I'll do it over one weekend before I have to go back to work and just be like, okay, let's wear it for a weekend and see what it looks like, right? So, but I had this great idea.
Yeah.
Other than just getting the temporary. So I haven't told you guys yet that I brought this tattoo to my mom. And Mama was not thrilled. She was not thrilled. And she was like, please, Will. It looks so terrible. She was like, it looks like a centipede.
Oh, no.
It looked like a centipede. Yeah. So she said it looked like a centipede. I'm like, Mom, it's not a centipede. I think it's a butterfly. It's like a butterfly and some flowers.
Butterfly, yeah, on some leaves and flowers.
But basically the reason the character of Ellie gets the tattoo is, I mean, I haven't played the game yet, but I'm assuming is because she got bit, like the zombies, and, you get infected, but she doesn't get infected. She's the one person in the world that we know of that gets bit and is immune.
Wow.
So that's why she's so important. And she, she in the second game, she tattoos over the bite so no one asks her about it. So she gets the tattoo to cover it. So because people were like, well, you're infected. And they would just kill her. You know what I mean? but she's then
Dude,
has
what a world to live in.
Yeah, she has a tattoo. So, so she doesn't, have to worry about that anymore. But I really like the tattoo, and I've seen a lot of people. If you look on Google, a lot of people have been getting this tattoo.
Yeah.
But I want to play the game before I do anything like that. But my mom, that's something we're gonna lead into. But basically, the tattoo is really cool looking. I think it has a little bit of green and a little bit of black, and I'm gonna get the temporary. I think. See how I like
dude,
it.
I think that's a great idea. That way you can kind of live with it for a little while. I have a similar story. So I've wanted there's a lot of tattoos that I have in my head that I think I would like to get, but I've never pursued them to be quite honest, I always spend my money on shoes and clothes, and then I don't have any leftover money for tattoos.
You and I are very specific about that. Collectibles, shoes, and clothes.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But I've, for a while now, thought it would be really cool to get one of the LeBron logos. I want to get it tattooed on my leg because I love LeBron. He's my favorite athlete all time. Yeah. LeBron is the man. He's such a good guy. Not only is he an awesome basketball player, but I think he's like a really nice individual as well. And a girl that I was dating like a couple years ago was like, why would you get that? What if he does something bad and now you've got that tattoo on you? And I was like, you know what? That's a good point. There's no like thought in my mind of anything bad that LeBron would do. He's done so many good things already. But it's a possibility. So she was like, how about I just draw it on your leg in permanent marker and we just leave it there for a little while and you see if you like it. So we did. It was really shitty done. We did a really bad job of it, right?
Oh my God.
But I did have it on there, and I actually convinced her to let me draw it on her at the same time. So we're literally walking around with this on our legs.
So you both have it?
Yeah, just this permanent marker, LeBron
God.
logo drawing on our legs.
So it's the same idea.
Yeah,
same
but
concept.
I did it, and I loved it. I was like, man, I would definitely do this.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I'm just adjusting our volume a little bit here.
Yeah, do you think, bro?
And we're good. Okay. So, but yeah, your story's exactly in the same vein. But yeah, and at the time when I showed it to my mom, I was kind of just like, I wasn't really seriously considering it. I was just like, hey, do you like this tattoo? And she was like, please don't get this. So then I tested her a little bit.
Okay.
She just doesn't like tattoos because like I showed her, I Google imaged, male forearm tattoo.
Sure.
So I looked everything that came up. She did not like a single one of them. So they came up on, we went through several pages and she was like, nope, don't like that. I don't like that. That's ugly. I don't like that. She didn't like a single one. So I was like, I think you just don't like tattoos.
Well, dude, let me defend your mom for a second here.
Yes.
Because this is I'm going to say theory. It's not. It's just kind of like a personal feeling that I have.
Yeah.
But the way that I think of things and the way that I like them best is I like how I meet somebody for the first time.
Yeah.
Typically the best. So, for example, if I meet like a girl, for example, and she's got brown hair, I'm like, okay, cool. This is such and such. They have brown hair. I like that. And then say they dye their hair blonde. I'm like, ooh, I'm always a little bit resistant at first.
Yeah.
So following that like same theory with a tattoo, your mom has known you literally your entire life, and there's never been a tattoo there. So to think that this arm that she knows and loves is going to now be different, you know what I mean? Sometimes that's a hard hurdle to get over.
Right. And I don't think she really wanted my brother to get his tattoo either. So, and I think that's something else entirely. You know what I mean? That's a whole other topic. But basically, I think, what goes into it is, it's a really tricky balance to strike with that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you have to, balance kind of the needs of your own personal interests and, what you like versus what your family likes or what your loved ones like, your friends, your wife, your husband, whatever. So boyfriend, girlfriend, like you guys did with the permanent marker, right?
Yeah, that was like our compromise. And real quick, beautiful segue.
He
nailed it.
I try. It was not intentional. I was just kind of going that direction. I'm like, this is a segue.
Yeah, dude, it's perfect. But yeah, you're completely right, man. When you have other people in your life that you care about, and you value their opinions, it is good to take what other people, their considerations into mind.
Right.
It's kind of like that, like a situation where it's not, people get frustrated if you ask them for advice and constantly do the other thing.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
they do.
People aren't going to want to give you advice anymore because it's like, what's the point? You're just going to do what you want anyway.
Right.
So I think it is good to, if there's people around you that you trust, which hopefully your friends and family, you can trust their opinions, to bounce ideas off of them. But I'll kind of contradict myself a little bit here. Yeah. At the end of the day, you do got to do what is best for you. Wow, so many rhymes.
There you go. And one thing too, I want to say, I do want to clarify my, position and statements. I don't think there's nothing wrong with not liking tattoos.
Oh, sure.
Nothing wrong. So I don't want to, imply that there is, because I don't want to say my mom or anyone is wrong for not liking tattoos. There's nothing wrong with not liking tattoos. I don't have any. So, I mean, I guess I don't like tattoos really, but I like some, and I would definitely get some. This isn't the first time I've kind of considered it.
Sure.
So I was going to for a while when I was, maybe I'll have to show you guys some photos at one point. I used to be, when I had hair, you remember, I was at PacSun.
yeah.
I had like the emo hair, I had swept over, and I had like the beanie.
Oh,
and I had,
yeah.
like the PacSun look. At that point, I was considering getting like a chest piece. I was going to get like a full chest piece.
Oh, dude, which was like classic at that time.
Right.
To have like the script like going across your chest. Oh,
Either
man.
that, but I wanted to get a lion.
Oh, okay, bet.
And so maybe some kind of lyric or something above it.
Sure.
So I wanted to do that, but then I never did. But I knew, because I knew it was going to hurt. That is probably one of the worst places you can get a tattoo on your chest, I've heard. So much bone in there.
Yeah, and if you're going to do something that like detailed, sheesh. I'm having a real hard time thinking of words today, guys. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But something that detail is going to be quite the pretty penny as well.
Quite the expensive venture.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something too. With the Ellie tattoo on the arm, I think that would be fairly moderate because like the detail is there, but it's not too crazy amounts of color. It's nothing too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it wouldn't be too bad. But I don't know the tattoo pricing because I've never had one. So,
dude, this is what I've heard / I think I've learned about tattoos. If you want a good artist, they say it's roughly like $100 an hour.
right.
So depending on how long they're going to take to do the tattoo, anything less than that, they might be a little sketch.
Right.
Maybe that tattoo doesn't turn out as good as you want it. The line's maybe not quite as straight.
Yeah.
And somebody more expensive could be trying to rip you off, or their quality's just that much better. And shout out to the people that are able to charge that much more for their tattoos and for their artwork because you deserve it.
I'll pay extra for quality.
Yeah, dude, I definitely would as well.
Yeah. It's permanent.
Dude, that's part of the reason I haven't gotten more tattoos is because I want to make sure if I was going to do it, I want it to be A1. I don't want to skimp out on paying for a tattoo and get something that looks sketch and then like you can't really fix it.
No.
It's there.
So that's what we do, dude. Here's what we do. If we decide on tattoo, we go together.
Okay.
And we get it done.
Oh, dude,
together.
100%.
Yeah. And then we pick the right artist to do the LeBron tattoo.
Dude, I would get something different. I would
Okay.
save that for later down
And then
the
the
road.
Ellie tattoo on the forearm. That's where it goes on the right forearm.
Okay, hey, right here on episode 8, February 17th today?
Shout out to us.
17th? We can reference back this episode. So if Will does decide to get this Ellie tattoo, I'll go with him and I'll definitely have something cooked up that I'm willing to get.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one thing too I think about tattoos is, how coverable are they, for lack of a better term?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that back up because I wanted to ask you. You said you would do it a weekend when you didn't have to work.
Right.
So how would that, change your work? Would you have to wear long sleeves? Like, are they frowned upon or would it be cool?
That's never been discussed. I work at a community college. It's never been discussed or even referenced because we have people that work there, I think, with tattoos.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure we do.
I mean, even if you haven't seen them, I would bet that
Right,
there's
somebody
there that's got a tattoo somewhere.
But it's
on them.
never been discussed. I think it's more of like people worry about it in terms of a perception thing, like how you're
Sure.
going to be perceived.
Sure.
I think the students would not care in the slightest. They'd be like, oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, it's cool you have that. But I think maybe when you're working with other colleagues, other professionals, especially older ones that might not, like tattoos so much, that's when you run the risk a little bit of being judged a way you might not want to, because tattoos still have a little bit of that social stigma.
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing, man. I think the older we get / the more new people come into the world,
Right.
The more people they'll have seen with tattoos. Whereas I think us growing up, if anybody had a tattoo, I feel like it was somebody that was like in the army and they've got the classic like mom on their arm. You know what I mean? Like it was very small pieces. It wasn't nearly as intricate and detailed as we get tattoos today.
Yeah.
We've got TV shows about the best tattoo artists. I can't think of the actual name for that right now.
Oh,
Ink Master.
Yeah, there it is.
Ink Master, great TV show, man. It'll keep you entertained for a while.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like that stuff is beautiful. That's crazy. And like I remember like as a kid, if I saw a tattoo, one, it was very rare. I wasn't used to seeing it. But it was typically very simple stuff where nowadays, like you can get extremely well done pieces. And kids that are, 10 now, I feel like they're seeing that way more often. So by the time they're our age, it's going to be even less and less of like that stigma around it. I think it's just going to be like a regular thing.
I think when we're in the hiring positions, like the positions where we're the managers and we're hiring, people for work, we're going to see a tattoo and be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only one, and there's a caveat to that.
I think I know what's
face
coming.
tattoos.
Yep.
Okay. Why is it? I don't know. I think there's just something about the way we as people interpret face tattoos.
Sure.
It's viewed as a negative. It's viewed as like a character thing. not sure why, unless you're a professional artist or a basketball player or an athlete in general, right? Or a skateboarder or something like that, where you're in a very
There's
niche
certain professions that let it slide, and it's like cool, no big deal.
Looks great, like Post Malone. Looks cool, right?
Yeah.
But if Post Malone weren't a rapper and he were just working,
he was your accountant,
right? You'd be like, right? You kind of be like, oh, you know what I mean? I think that he might be a great accountant, but he might also, I think the interpretation of him, the judgment of him, just on a book by its cover, which happens. I mean, it happens. So it would be like, oh, I don't know if I want him as my accountant.
Dude, that made me think of something that I've thought about many, many times, and it's like just a cool thought that I have.
Yeah.
I used to be willing to do a lot more things with my facial hair. Like I know mustaches are like frowned upon, but I would rock a mustache. I don't really care. I would do like long sideburns, just do whatever to make things crazy. And the way I always thought about it was, it doesn't change the way that I look at the world at all, but it does change the way that the world looks at me.
That's some deep stuff.
Yeah, dude. And I always thought it was cool because you can really it almost gives you like a different perspective on things, because people will treat you differently based off of your appearance. I mean, it's kind of screwed
100%,
up,
100%.
but it happens. And you can be the same person. I can be me looking like I do right now, and I could literally just shave my facial hair differently, or shave my head, or have long hair, short hair, and people will interact with you differently. And it's really funny. I haven't changed at all, but the way that people are acting towards me has.
Yeah, and it's the same, it's just with appearance. People judge you by appearance, and it's a sad reality, but I think also one that we have to accept, because it just is, whether we like it or not. I mean, we all do it. You and I do it. I mean, like, everyone does it. So
yeah,
it's just, I think it's just nature. I mean, like, what you see, it's like, okay, what I see, I'm assessing that person. Are they a threat? Are they this? You know what I mean? It's like a nature thing. So it's like,
with having no like scientific degree to back this up, I do think that it is. We get I don't want to say scared, but you get frightened. You use a great word for it. By things that we're not used to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The things that you've grown up with, that you're familiar with, that stuff is comfortable.
Right.
So you're more likely to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. For example, we'll go back to this tattoo thing. If you've grown up and your parents had tattoos your entire life, you're probably like, oh yeah, that's chill, no big deal.
Right.
But if you grew up and your parents or people around you didn't, then getting a tattoo is probably way bigger of a deal. So when you see people that have, I didn't grow up with anybody in my family that had a face tattoo. So if I saw somebody with a face tattoo, I'm like, whoa, that's extremely different from what I'm used to, or what I've been, thought of as acceptable up to this point. So it does make it like harder to digest, I'll say.
Right. And I think, honestly, if I showed up with a tattoo, my family, my parents especially, would not be thrilled. So they would probably be pretty upset. So that's where it's always a tricky line. Now we're going to officially segue. Not just my story, but just in general, I think. And there's nothing wrong with that, for parents to set expectations for their kids and what they want. And then the tricky balance, I think, is as the individual and as the adult, to determine, and there's a tricky line to balance to strike there, because like, how independent are you? If you still are dependent on your parents in some way, then I think they have the right to say, you know what? I'm going to put my foot down on this and say, you can't do this, because you're dependent on them. It's their rules, right? So.
Dude, that is a great first point to bring up.
Right.
I totally agree. It's something that, if you want your independence, then be independent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to, if you have, say for example, you want to go get a tattoo, and it's going to be a few $100, right? Well, if you have a few $100 to spend on this tattoo, maybe you have a few $100 to do something else with. It's kind of like having your priorities in alignment.
Right.
Whereas, if that few $100 could go towards something that might be deemed more responsible, then maybe do that first. Whereas if you are on your own, right, you're providing for yourself, you keep a roof over your head, all your bills are paid, you're eating each day, and you got some extra money, to me, do whatever you want with it.
Right.
Maybe not whatever you want with it. Let me reel that back real quick. Dude, mostly within reason. Thank you. But you know what I mean? Like, knock yourself out. And if you do have that independence, and it is harder to have somebody maybe look down on it because of that. But yeah, if you are still dependent, I do think that, whoever is the ruler of the household should have a little bit more of a say.
Right. And I think that's, like I said, it's a very tricky line to walk, because you have to balance what you want and what you want at the time versus what your family is telling you is the right thing to do at the time, or your friends, right, that you trust. And like you said, people will start to get, to the point where they kind of tune you out if you say, hey, I'm looking for advice, and then you constantly do the opposite thing.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, well, there's no point in me telling you anything, because you're just going to go do the opposite. You're going to do what you want anyway. So it's almost like the person is looking for affirmation for you to agree with them. And then when you don't, they're still going to do what they want. So it's like,
you go seeking advice
Right.
from like multiple different people and you get to the 10th person that agrees with you and you're like, ha, I knew it. I will go do this.
I knew I was right. I will go get the LeBron tattoo. Because, that's kind of how that goes. But yeah, so that's always a tricky line to walk. But one thing I will say, you made a really good point, I think, about, spending your money on things.
Sure.
So I am very particular about the way I budget my money.
Yeah.
So like I use an app called Every Dollar. So if you want to use a budgeting app, it's free. Every Dollar.
Nice.
Super legit, man. Super legit. And it lets you do it lets you build a budget for your month and all the categories, and it lets you track your spending. So I use it for every purchase I make.
Solid.
And they're not a sponsor, but they should be, because Every Dollar is great, and it's a great app. My mom showed it to me, actually. But
hey, shout out to mom.
But yeah, shout out to mom again. But so basically it's one of those things where, I think you should, if you can, like there's another thing, within reason.
Sure.
So like spend money on things that you like, because you really only live once. You know what I mean? So I think I have an opinion, like as long as you're being responsible and like you said, you have your bills paid, you're not going into debt. You're not buying so much of these things where you don't have no money to do anything else.
Yep.
But like buy things that make you happy within reason, right?
Yeah.
Don't buy drugs, but buy like,
What if they make you happy?
That's to me, it's still a no. I'm gonna draw a line in the sand and say firm no on drugs. But you might differ. I don't know. But
I just want to see how you would react.
Yeah. Well, now you know my reaction.
That's funny.
So yeah, I think it's important to buy like we talked about the Pennywise thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I am nuts, right?
Sure.
Because, by the way, spoiler alert, I did it. So
Woo!
yeah, so I told Nick. Nick was like, as long as you're happy, big dog.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
I was like, I am. So, but I went back and forth on it. Basically, so this Pennywise statue was $2,000. Luckily, I'm paying it off over time. So I'm paying it off for 7 payments.
Which is a bit more reasonable.
Right. So I had to drop a $200 deposit. But other than that, I got to pay the rest off over time.
Sure.
But those are things like I have money saved up. I'm being responsible. I budget a lot of my money to put into savings, right? So I do it in a responsible way where I'm not just blowing these things on $2,000 Pennywise figures every day. You know what I mean? I'm being responsible about it. So there's a line you got to draw. But you also got to like recognize you can't be so uptight about it. Like there are things, and I'm a 28-year-old. This might change when I'm 40. But like I think, buy things you only live once. If that thing's going to make you happy, then splurge every now and then. I've never spent this much on anything. So, not $2,000.
Man, yeah, I'm trying to
besides like a car.
Yeah,
but
a car.
I mean like in terms of like a collectible or like, a guitar. Oh, actually my guitar was like $1,600. But like other than that, right?
Minor flex.
Yeah, no, not I swear not. I am not a rich man in the slightest. So like I said, I work in higher education. So but yeah, I think it's important to every now and then, splurge a little bit.
Yeah,
Treat yourself.
Dude, I totally agree. Yeah, treat yourself for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we find people on either end of the spectrum that just save, and then it's like, you're not taking this money with you. When you go, and it's nice to be able to have something to pass along to your family. If you, God willing, you have children, to pass along to your children. Like, that's awesome. That's extremely admirable. But at the same time, yeah, I feel like you got to do something for yourself. On the opposite end of the spectrum, don't do everything, because you might have responsibilities you got to deal with first. But right along with what Will's saying, to me, if your bills are paid for, if you're not, stretching out every single dollar, you can save a little bit of money and you find something that you like, go for it. That's honestly how, ever since I've been like my adult life, my working professional life, that's how I've always tried to treat things. I wanted to make sure like I can pay my bills first, because to me, having a car and having a home or an apartment, like that's important purchases. You don't want to screw up those purchases.
No, those are essentials.
Yeah, exactly. Essentials. And then, I want to be able to eat. I don't want to have to eat like dollar menu every single evening. So even later in life, I've started to value that a little bit more, spending more money on food.
Really?
Dude, I don't even mind. Yeah, because I like to eat the stuff I like to eat.
I do too. I'm a straight up minimalist with food.
Really?
Like I am with everything except for collectibles in my life. Like basically I've gotten to the point where like food, I'm a fairly minimalist. With other things, I can be a fairly minimalist as well. But I try to like have it so I can spend just as much as I need to kind of get by and live a life where I'm not, unhappy with what I'm eating.
Sure.
Or unhappy with, I never eat fast food. I never go to restaurants. I don't drink, so I don't go to bars.
Sure.
Right? So I don't spend any money on any of those things that I think a lot of guys my age probably do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I still have to pay all my bills. Those are all paid on time, but I have a little bit of extra income because I've chosen I'm more of a homebody, I'd say. So I don't, like I said, I don't do those things. So my money is, and I'm not married. I don't have kids. So like my expenses are just me surviving. So that's why I have a little bit of extra income to buy like some collectibles.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I totally agree with you. I think you're going about it a smart way.
Yeah.
I think you touched on something that is big for, maybe a lot of other people that are our age, is not only do you have to worry about yourself and keeping yourself alive,
right,
but maybe, a wife, a husband, maybe a small human that you've got to take care of. And yeah, you got to make sure that you're prioritizing that stuff first. But when you do have that extra money, yeah, something that I've always tried to do ever since I've gotten into making more eccentric purchases, maybe unnecessary purchases on all these clothes
Supreme.
and shoes.
I watched your Supreme videos.
Those are
I watched the one where you put the purple backpack in there. You clicked it twice.
Remember
that?
And no.
Okay, you clicked. It was like, all right, it's about to go live. I'm about to get this purple backpack, and you like clicked it, and you were like, oh, I gotta click it twice, and then you went in the thing, and it was sold out.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah.
And you were like, I panicked. I shouldn't have clicked twice.
Yes.
So
if
funny.
you guys aren't hip to Supreme, the spring summer season 2020 is right around the corner. I'm getting really excited for that.
Okay.
But yeah, you got to be quick with it when you're trying to cop Supreme, because if not, it will sell out. It will sell out so quickly. At least like the really hype stuff.
Okay.
But when I'm making those purchases and when I do like commit money to stuff like that, whether it's clothes or shoes, the thing that I kind of take comfort in, and you can probably do the same thing with your figures, is there's some sort of resale value for it later.
100%.
So it's not like I'm making purchases where, say, I spend $300 and that $300 is gone. As soon as I buy it, I ain't getting that $300 back. No, in some cases, I can get my $300 back. In some cases, maybe I can salvage $100 from it. And in some cases, maybe I'll get extra money. Maybe I can sell it for $600. There's been plenty of instances on all ends of that spectrum. But I try to make smart purchases where I can use these things. I can appreciate them for X amount of time. And if I do decide, hey, this isn't for me any longer, it does have some sort of value still attached to it, where I can make some of that money back towards my next purchase or towards whatever I may want to get.
100%. And that's the biggest thing for me, like I said, and everyone has different value systems and what they value. But like you said, with the figures, all my figures, I can get basically what I paid for them or pretty close to it. I might lose a little bit, but a lot of times they're going to go up in value. So, I'm going to make an investment that way, but I don't view these things an investment. I get them because I like them. Yeah. So I'm not buying one because I'm like, oh man, this one's going to go up. You know what I mean? If I don't like the character, I don't get it. So I'm the same way as you. Like I have they're investments to a sense, but I can get my money out if I wanted to. Yeah. But they're more just like you said. They make me happy. I like them. I like walking by and looking at them like, man, I really love that movie, and I have something that represents that movie that I love so much. So that's why I get those things.
Dude, that's how I am with I've been getting like the Funko Pops. I think we've talked about an episode before, but dude, I'm starting to get addicted to those little things, which I will say,
slippery slope, dude.
Dude, and you probably do too. We just got this collector thing in our head, in our bodies, that like it's when you see something that's like, oh, I like this, I'd like another.
Dude, it runs in my family. Like all the men in my family for whatever reason are collectors of something. They all have something. So, dude, and I have the pop culture stuff.
Hey, well, that's awesome, and it's cool that you guys can talk about that. And for me, quite the opposite. I don't know anybody else in my family, at least that collects things like that.
So I'm a bad influence on you.
No, it could be. It depends on how you look at it, man. I like being able to talk about this kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, the thing that I will say about those Funko Pops, at least they're only like $10, $12.
Right. Yeah. Is that your phone?
Sorry, I think my phone just went off.
You did probably just sat on it.
But yeah, they're only $10, $12 compared to like shoes or clothes or stuff like that. It can be, double, triple, quadruple.
Right.
That price. That's a slippery slope that gets a little bit more expensive, a lot of bit quicker.
What's the most expensive pair of shoes you got that you bought? Flex a little bit.
The most expensive pair that I've paid for, I don't really ever buy stuff resell. So kind of talking about the market, I think it probably goes across whatever we're talking about. There's retail market when you just buy it from the manufacturer, whatever. And then there's the resale market or like aftermarket. Exactly. Right. So I think the most expensive shoes that I've ever bought are $350. I've bought two pairs of shoes that are $350. Mm-hmm. But the most expensive pair that I own, at its peak was probably worth about $1,200. And I bought those for $160.
That's a pretty damn good investment.
Yeah. I still have those. And unfortunately, the thing with those shoes is I got them. They're not in my size. When I had the opportunity to buy them for retail, my size wasn't available. So I bought the closest size to it, and I've literally been hanging on to them, hoping to swap them for my size.
I mean, with the collectible shoes, though, do you wear them anyway, or do you just keep them?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. There's some shoes that I buy that I'm buying solely to have that I have no interest in wearing. Shout out to my dog LeBron again. LeBron, I know you watching, man. I appreciate it.
LeBron's definitely watching.
But I have a lot of LeBron's first year shoes, so they're called the Air Zoom Generation 1. I have 4 of them right now. I think 4 of like the 5 that released when he was a rookie.
Yeah.
And I have no intention on wearing those. I just have them because I love LeBron. I think it's like a piece of history. LeBron is arguably the GOAT, and it'd be cool to have his shoes, man, and have them in pristine, like brand new condition. But there's plenty of other shoes that I get that people, value at a high dollar that I just wear because I think they look super cool. So all ends of the spectrum there.
Okay. So I think, is there anything else we need to summarize in terms of, doing things like that are balancing the needs of your family? Like I said, so basically we simplified it. If you're dependent on them in any way, they have the right to make a claim on anything that you do, saying like, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should do that, but if you're entirely independent, you're paying your own way and everything, your bills, your food, whatever, then you're independent at that point, and you still want to value your parents. You always respect your elders.
Sure.
So you always respect what they say, but if you're dependent on them in any way, then they have the right to say you can't or can do this. You know what I mean? Because you're financially dependent on them. So there's lines to that, obviously, but there's some gray area there. But I think generally speaking, that's the way I view it. And I think it just really depends on each family and friend circle is different. But you always want to balance those things. Balancing what you want to do, but also like with something with a tattoo, think about it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
100%.
Don't like you were a little bit different because you just went and did it. But hey, you don't regret it at all.
Not at all.
So I mean, like that's the biggest thing. So like I'm sure you thought about it well enough, but like try and think about it. Like with this tattoo, I'm not just gonna run out and do it. I'm gonna play the game, sit on it for a little while, see if I still want it, and go from there.
Yeah, dude, I think that's all really smart. And then the thing that I'll toss in for that is it's also like a wisdom, like a time thing as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're dependent too, your parents or guardians, whoever it may be, they've seen a lot more life. You know what I mean? They've maybe seen how this road typically ends. Yeah. Not to say that you know exactly what's going to go down. But while you're still kind of getting your feet under yourself, to Will's point about listening to your elders, like they've got some knowledge that you might not have yet.
My parents are wise as hell, dude.
Dude,
they drop some wisdom,
and it's good to hear, man. And I think it's tough to hear when you're younger and when you want to be independent and make these decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
But I would say probably 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, you always find out later, like shit, they were right this whole time.
Dude, I was just about to say that. I was like, man, you look back on things as a kid, and you're like, damn it, I was wrong. They were right.
I could have swore I was right.
I could have swore I was right at the time, but when you're like a little angsty teenager. But like, now you were definitely wrong. Yeah. And, if you're still in that phase, you might be wrong. Just think about it. So,
yeah.
I mean, not saying always, but.
No, not always. With anything, man, there's a balance. There's a balance. And to the older, wiser people that are trying to give this advice, I think it's good to just try to relate. You know what I mean? Try your best to relate and not just, if you want the message to be relayed well or accepted, I think, try your best to relate to that person and whatever it is that they're thinking about doing, that they want to accomplish, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And just, if you think that they're going down, maybe an incorrect path, just do your best to try to explain it in a way that they're going to understand, so that, both parties can walk away pleased.
Yes, I would say pleased is a good way to put it. So at this point, I think we're actually about almost 40 minutes in, so we have one more topic I think to hit.
Okay.
And you touched on something really interesting. I think that is something I think hopefully we'll be able to touch on fairly quickly.
Sure.
We always get long-winded, but basically my thought process is this, and I was talking to my mom about this the other night actually.
Okay.
So why do you think it is now that I think people, I've noticed it, at least what I've seen, people are waiting longer to start a family, to have kids?
Oh man, great question. I wasn't expecting this.
Such a tough one.
Yeah, I would love to talk about it, man. I think it's because one, and something that I think is probably like fairly easy to like see/prove, is over time life expectancy has gotten longer. So it's a good point. It's a lot easier. You know what I mean? Before, if you were going to die at 50.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
But
want to start a family soon.
Exactly. Or, you know what I mean? The opportunity might pass you. And I think what it's evolved to now is we do have better medicines. We've learned a lot more things. We're a lot more knowledgeable of what is going to kill you and what you can do to prolong your life and, you know, stay active and healthy as long as you possibly can. So people have got a lot more time. But personally, I think a lot of it is because society continues to improve for us, because we continue to make these advancements and we have these things to do. And just speaking about myself in general, there's a lot more things that I want to enjoy and experience on my own.
Right.
Before, you know, starting a family and then getting kind of restricted to, like we talked about earlier with your priorities. Now I've got a family that I've got to make sure that I'm providing for and taking care of. It's just something that I would assume, if I'm portraying how I feel on other people as well, that people aren't ready to sign up for that just yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
They want to spend a lot more time doing what they want with themselves and enjoying the different things that are available in life, because that's another thing, you know, maybe 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, there weren't the options that we have today to go out and do and enjoy. So we're just out here enjoying what's available to us. And then I think when, you know, once again, speaking for myself, I've finished doing the things that I want to do, I'll sit down and consider that a lot more closely.
I think that's a super scientific answer, and it sounds exactly.
Boom.
Yeah, that's science right there. You just dropped some science knowledge on there.
What's up? Call me
You should be
PhD,
teaching
baby.
classes. You should be teaching classes with that knowledge. But seriously, that's a great answer, and I think I agree. So, like, one thing I think that's important to touch on this is, because I was thinking about this, I'm like, am I doing something correctly or incorrectly? And I really don't think there's ever an answer to that. Like, it differs so much by person. And like with me, I'm in the exact, and then I thought about it more. I feel the exact same way as you. I feel that there are so many things that I want to do, and I am 100% not ready to sign up for something like that.
Yeah.
Because it changes everything. Like you know, things that you really might overvalue with your independence, like being able to go to the movies on Thursday night.
Sure.
Right? You know, if you have a kid, that probably ain't happening. You know? Or just doing things on your own, making videos on YouTube, doing this podcast, right? That gets a lot harder when you have kids and a schedule to work around.
Yep.
So that's something that just, it's a really, like, that's a big thing, a big decision you're signing up for, because you're absolutely right. That takes preference over everything else.
Yeah.
Second you have a kid, second you have a wife, whatever, that's number one. So it's like, it changes everything.
And I'll kind of expand on it a little bit more. I don't think me and Will are the only two people that feel this way. Once again, to preference it, I'm 29, Will's 28, so...
And I will be 29 in April, so...
Yeah, so we're 30. Yeah. We're basically 30. And it's not just us. There's plenty of other guys. There's plenty of females that feel this way. Mm-hmm. And I do think the fact that we have so many people that are feeling this way and want to pursue X, Y, and Z and spend time chasing these dreams or chasing these passions, and they don't necessarily want to be tied down by that, it's a lot harder to find somebody that's going to fit in your schedule as well.
Right.
So, for me, thinking about getting in a relationship, and part of the reason that, to be quite honest, like recently I haven't even tried or like considered, because I've got these things that I want to do, and I would need to find somebody that's cool with that.
Right.
That their, internal clock isn't saying like, family time to get tied down. I'd like to find somebody that's ambitious and working on things as well.
It's hard.
But it's hard to find somebody doing that because they're out grinding and doing their thing. So I think the timetables are just switching around a little bit. And then maybe before, where how it was 25, people are, and there's still plenty of people getting married and settling down and having children by 25.
Right.
But maybe we're extending that another 10 years, and in 35, maybe that'll be the time.
I think you're definitely hitting the nail on the head here. I think the way I would summarize it is, I think our society is moving a little bit more towards the individual.
Sure.
So like a lot of people like us, we're focused on ourselves and getting the most, out of our lives that we can. So doing as much as we can, exploring the things we like as much as we can, without necessarily being tied down by commitment that we don't need. So that's why I think, there's absolutely, the more I thought about it, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's fine. And you're seeing more and more people that aren't married, that don't have kids, that are our age. And people are getting married later and later and having kids later and later now, because like you said, like the life expectancy is longer. You can kind of take your time a little bit more. It's not something you need to rush into.
Definitely not.
And I think too, the culture is changing. It used to be back in the days where it's like, you're expected to kind of like, okay, are you getting married? Are you having kids? Nowadays, it's like, you could be 40 and have no kids, and people are like, that's normal. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was saying. Like, one thing we should touch on too is the idea of never having kids. Is that something that you would want to do, or that you're willing to do? Because I think I would be. It just depends.
Yeah, it depends for me. I can tell you right now, thinking about it, in my head, I would like to see a future where I have children.
Yeah.
Because I'd like the idea of having a small version of me to teach and to guide. And not to say that you can't do that with the youth of the world that's already out there. And I think a lot of people are really awesome for being coaches and mentors and doing those types of things, whether they have children themselves or not.
Yeah.
But I do think it's cool. And I think it's a very unique feeling. I have no idea because I don't have any children. But I assume it's an extremely unique feeling to have a child of your own that you get to shape and mold and, do your best to put them in a successful position going into the world from the time that they are conceived through however long. I think that's an extremely unique situation that you can only get from having children yourself, as satisfying and as gratifying as it can be to help mentor, children, young adults. That I think is in a whole league of its own.
I think so too. And but I think the biggest thing that that my opinion stands at right now, the biggest sticking point is it has to be the right person.
Oh, 100%.
It just has to be, and it might be a given. I understand that, but I think it's more so finding that person, like you said, that has everything you're looking for. That's to me, and it may be an idealistic. To me, I'd rather find that or not find it. So it's to me, that's my stance on it. If I never have kids because I never found that one person that I just felt like was the one that I really wanted to do that with, to have kids with, start a family with, then I won't have them. But if I do, then I will. If I don't, then I'll be more than satisfied to just kind of live my life with my social circle and do my own thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't be extremely happy doing that and lead and live a very successful life. Taking that approach, and I think it's exactly how I feel, to be honest. Yeah. This is funny because I've felt this way for a few years now. I think when you're younger, you're a teenager, you're younger 20s, you're very hormonal, and you're like, oh my God, at least, for us looking at girls, like, oh my God, she's hot, right? You know what I mean? We've got the front and the back assets. And those are really important to you at some point. However, I
did not know you were going to take it there.
But I'm getting to a point here. For the last couple years, I've cared less about those types of things. And I look at a woman in this instance, and I'm a lot more attracted to them by how I feel like they would be a mom. Which is kind of tying into what you're saying. That's
nature right there, man.
Yeah, dude. I see a girl, and she could be extremely hot, quote unquote. But if she's not what I consider to be, or would consider to be a good mother to my future child,
right?
Then I'm you know what I mean? They very easily drop down the hotness scale.
Physical at this point and where we're at age wise, physical appearance only takes you so far.
Seriously,
because you could be a 10 out of 10, but just not a good person, or like you said, wouldn't be a good mate or a good mother. That's nature right there, man. You'd be like, no, sorry. I'll pass and I'll keep doing my own thing. So I think the bigger thing too, as we wrap this topic up, is being able to walk away.
Oh, 100%.
If it's not right, walk away from it. Not necessarily has to be on the first date. Oh, something went wrong. Sorry. Good luck. It was nice meeting you. Not like that. But if you're, working through things and things just aren't going well and they're not clicking, don't feel like you're stuck in anything. Yeah. That's my biggest thing.
I mean, shoot, I'll even take this to encompass more of what we've been talking about. Just maybe not to walk away, but learn to walk your own path, whatever that ends up being. There are a lot of people, and I think we've talked about it in previous episodes, where you get attached to the idea of being in a relationship and you're kind of scared to be alone or independent. But you got to do what's best for you. And being in a toxic environment, whether that's with a relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife, whatever it may be, if you're trying to pursue something and your family is talking you in the right direction, or, maybe knocking you down a couple pegs, you got to figure out what's best for you. It's good to take in the advice of others, but at the end of the day, you got to listen to yourself. You're the only one that you're going to be stuck with forever.
Right. And that's some knowledge right there. You just dropped some serious knowledge.
I'm on a roll today.
You are. Like I said, you should be teaching classes.
Dude, that'd be nice.
That's some serious knowledge.
That'd be pretty neat. We're teaching class one podcast at a time.
Yes, we are. Saving the world by teaching.
100%.
Teaching the world. There you go. That should be our little catchphrase. Saving the world by teaching the world. There you go. So, is there anything else we want to add to this topic as we wrap up? Because, I think we dropped some serious knowledge right there.
Yeah, man. I vote we just wrap it up by saying, hey, check out our socials. They'll be in the link in the description. Hopefully you guys are able to check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, any of these other platforms that we're on now. And definitely comment and let us know how you feel about our new logo.
Yeah, let us know about the logo. Let us know how you feel about a lot of what we talked about today. You've seen probably, if you haven't, go check our YouTube channel out. It's Will and Nick Save the World on YouTube, right? And Nick and I have been working pretty intensively on putting clips out. So now there's clips out from the episode. So Nick did a great job with this recent episode doing those.
Thank you, sir.
And those will be more coming in the future. They'll be on their way.
So if you don't got an hour, maybe you can spend 5 to 15 minutes watching a clip or two.
Yes. So feel free to check us out on YouTube and check out those clips because we clip out everything. And I think the last thing as we sum up, like I said, Pennywise real quick.
Oh, sure.
Update. So I posted one more Instagram story. I can send you that if I still have it on there.
I saw it.
Okay.
I also didn't respond. I feel the same way.
So I posted, and this one wasn't a poll though.
It was the slider.
It had the slider, right?
Yeah.
And I think I only got one person who slid on it, but they voted fully yes.
That's good.
So I like I said, I got the Pennywise, so it's coming. It's probably coming like June, I'd say.
Okay.
Probably coming like June. So I posted and I said, what did I say? I said I went ahead and bought this as a Valentine's Day gift, which I did. I bought it for myself as a Valentine's Day gift.
Self-love.
Yeah, self-love, right? You gotta love yourself. So love yourself, and then I was like further cementing my hashtag forever alone status, which I think is probably true. But I did have one girl though that I've spoken a little with on Instagram. She's just a friend, but she was like, well, I don't understand. I don't know why people wouldn't like it. And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. So so I think maybe there's other women out there like that too that would be fine with it. But either way, I like to joke about it. I think making fun of yourself and laughing at yourself is always good.
Oh, dude, it's way better to be the one making fun of yourself and realizing the things that maybe aren't as quote unquote cool about yourself first before somebody else does it and really strikes a nerve with you. I think that's the people that really get upset about things.
Yes, but let us know about all the topics we discussed tonight and the Pennywise as well, because that's always important. Pennywise is just a common running theme on this show. So
next episode number 9, we have a guest on today, Pennywise.
Dude, well, when he gets here, there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh my God.
And he's right there in that corner.
That's true. Oh yeah, he's been creeping me out. The
whole,
entire season that we've had this.
Literally the whole season. So, and let us know. One thing I think we should encourage too, which we've talked about, is in the comments on YouTube or wherever really. I think letting us know what you want us to talk about. Give us some topic ideas.
Yeah.
Because we have plenty that we can discuss, and we'll just come up with stuff and be like, this is a great idea. But if you guys see something that, or think of something that you want to see discussed, then let us know.
Yeah, definitely comment. Let us know. Hit us on our socials.
Yes.
And, maybe we'll be talking about your topic next episode.
That'd be great. We can give you a shout out for that, right?
100%.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think that's it for episode 8. Right?
All right. Bye.
See you guys. Signing off.
Yay.